episode 50 of the Arctic Crafts podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook and Etsy as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. We have 2 make-alongs going. We have the year-long Arctic Crafts make-along, where you enter things you made with my yarn. It doesn't have to be only my yarn, but you can enter that in the Ravelry group in the thread for the make-along. And just to remind you, I do quarterly drawings and we're getting close to the first drawing of 2021 at the end of March. So if you have made anything with my yarn and haven't entered it yet, please do. There's also a new make-along starting on April 1st that ends on May 17th, and it's called the Red, White and Blue make-along. The hashtag is Red, White and Blue Mal. And the rules are really simple. Whips are allowed, and if it's a garment, you don't have to finish it before May 17th. And the only rule is at least 2 of the colors red, white and blue has to be in your project. If you have all 3, you get a double entry. Easy as that. And the reason why why I'm doing it now is that May 17th is Norway's Constitution Day, and the Norway's flag is red, white and blue. Easy as that. It's a sunny day today, so I've been moving around to get out of the sun. And because it's starting to get sunny and warm, this might be the last time you see me in hand knits for a while. And while we're talking of the hand knits, I can tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a So Faded. I knit this before we went to spring into wool, and that's 2 years ago. And it's all different dyers, and I'll start at the top. This is Nora George. This is Yarn Cafe Creations. This is my yarn. And this is Suburban Stitcher. And the one at the bottom is Hedgehog Fibers. And so instead of knitting the So Faded as a fade, I did it with 5 different colors. And it makes me happy because it's so colorful, and I needed that because it's so strange, because every year when you can see the end of the winter, February, March, I always get a dip. Every year I kind of take a dive, February, March. And this is when we start to really get the snow here in Vesterålen. It's March, April is kind of the big months for snow. And I put some footage at the beginning of the episode, so you've already seen what it looks like. And I also have some big news, really exciting news. And that's all I'm going to say about it now. Kind of a teaser. I'm going to talk more about it after I've shown you my knitting. And the reason why I'm doing this on a Thursday this week is because we're going to Svolvær tomorrow to pick up the yarn I have lying in with Tora in Svolvær, because I want to have it in stock. And I'm going to tell you why later. Again, with a teasing. So, I haven't got any FOs. I know it's unheard of, but I haven't got any FOs. Partly because I've spent a lot of time with my sons. My youngest son went home to his father on Sunday, So I haven't done a lot of knitting while he was here. The same thing about the dyeing. I haven't done a lot of dyeing either, so it's not a big update on Sunday. And the other reason why I haven't got any FOs is because I sort of started 2 sweaters, sort of. So let's just talk whips. The whips I showed you last time, the Love Note that I'm knitting with my own single ply, and the Slipping Tiles by Stephen West. Haven't worked on any of those. I haven't worked on the socks I showed you last time, the Hermione's Everyday socks, because I've cast on a new pair of socks. I have castanitis at the moment, and I didn't cast on the sweater I was supposed to cast on. I've started a new weaving project, but I haven't done a lot on that either. So let's talk whips. We'll start with the socks. I have to stretch for it. It's on the floor. This project is in my Atelier Nekosuki bag that I got from Liz in Canada. And I have one sock finished, and this is it. I needed some car knitting because we spent a few days in Tromsø. There'll be some footage of that as well. I think I'll put that at the end of the podcast. So this is the colorway Derby, I think it is. Let me double check. Yes, it's the colorway Derby by Turtlepurl. And this is how far I've gotten on the second sock. I'm knitting this on my 9mm, 9-inch, 2.25 millimeter sock needles. And I haven't done a lot on this either since we got back, because again I've cast on 2 sweaters. So Tromsø is kind of one of the reasons for one of the sweaters I've cast on, because I of course went to my favorite yarn store when we went to Tromsø, Snarby Strikkestudio in Tromsø, and I'm calling it my LYS even though it's a 5-hour drive. But it's the yarn store I visit most often because we go visit my son every now and then, and I always go there. And I was going to buy yarn for the Night Forest by Casapinka, and I couldn't help myself. I had to cast it on as soon as I got back. So I'm going to show you the whip, and then I don't have to show you the yarn later. But I will put in footage from the Tromsø trip at the end of the podcast. So this whip is in this bag by Gibberoo Seuss that was part of our Valentine's collaboration. And now you can tell this bag is big enough for a sweater project, at least for the time being, because I just split for the sleeves. And then it sort of got boring, so I cast on the second sweater. I know. So this is the Night Forest by Casapinka. And I was going to buy the same yarn as I knit my pink fizz in, the Drop Snord. But I realized color work and yarn with that much alpaca in it, probably not a good idea. So the yarn I'm using for this is called Drops Flora. It's also a 4-ply or a fingering, but it's non-superwash. So the color work looks much better, and it looks like kind of a loose gauge, but I think when I block this or soak this, it's going to bloom, because the non-superwash tend to do that when you soak it. And the colorways, I haven't got the ball bands, but I wasn't sure when I started knitting this, but I like the colors. I'm not a green person, but I like this kind of green. It's kind of a moss green, olive green. And as you can see, I've gotten this far, so I have quite a lot of knitting to do, but at least there's another pattern at the end of the sweater, at the bottom. So I have something to look forward to. So that's the Night Forest by Casapinka, and I'll of course link that down below like I always do. And then I dyed up some, I had 4 skeins undyed. 4 undyed skeins left of the first 100% merino fingering I had in my shop, and I still have a few skeins in stock that's already dyed. I haven't got a lot left, and it's kind of cheaper than my other merino, and that's partly because I want to get it out of the shop so I have more room for my newer bases. And as I was saying, I have had 4 skeins left undyed. I have problem in my throat. I just have to drink something. No, I haven't been to the Twist Fibre Festival. It's a gift from Sue in Canada. So I dyed up those 4 skeins in my newest tonal tidal wave because I really love that color. So I wanted to knit. So I decided to knit the Hinterland by Jennifer Steingass. I got a total brain fog for a moment. And I wanted to knit the Hinterland, and I thought I'd use the tidal wave for the main color and maybe a light gray or something for the pattern. So that's what I was intending to do. But then Joji Locatelli released a new cardigan that I fell in love with at first sight. It's called the Ripple Lake, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's short sleeved and it's open front, and I thought that would be perfect for spring and summer because the evenings can be kind of chilly here in northern Norway. So I decided, okay, that's what I'm going to use the tidal wave for. So the Hinterland has been put off again. It's not the first time. And since I cast on the Ripple Lake only yesterday evening, so I haven't got a lot to show for it. And you start, this is a cardigan that's knit from the side. So you knit it sideways. And I had to cast on 250 plus stitches provisional cast on. And this needle is a bit short for this, so it's really bunched up on the needle, but this is where I am at. I barely started this, but again I started this last night, so it's not you can understand why I haven't got further than this. My longer cable, this is my Jagu interchangeables, and the longest cable is in a hibernating sweater. My May It Be by Anna Maria Utvers, that I haven't touched in a while, and I should probably just exchange the needles in that with a different needle so I can use my longest cable on this. I'll do that later today, I think, because it's kind of a pain to have all these stitches on a short cable. It's not a short cable, but it's a bit too short for all these stitches. So I'm thinking of doing that later today. As long as I remember what kind of needle I was using at the May It Be, that's the scary part about hibernating sweaters. That's why Ravelry is a good idea, but I don't always put down my needle size on Ravelry. So I have to check that I've done that on the May It Be, so that I remember. I almost started speaking Norwegian there. So that I remember what dimension needle I use on that. This is a 3.5, I think. Yeah, it's a 3.5 US size 4. My gauge was a bit loose, but since I'm knitting these sideways, the raw gauge of course is a bit off as well, and that's a problem when you knit sideways, and you have to knit when it's a pattern repeat and you have to stop at the end of the pattern repeat. But my thought is that, okay, so I just cast on a size smaller, and because it's open front and it has this box pleat in the back, I was thinking, okay, if it's a bit narrow, I can just omit the box pleat or make it smaller, and it's open front, so it doesn't have to close. So that's what I'm doing. The bag, Giberusus. I love this bag. And this is the same. I haven't got a lot of sweater bags, so I have to sort of use these bags for the sweaters until it almost bursts at the seams, because I have, as I say, I haven't got a lot of sweater bags. And I also have, that's another thing, I have hibernating sweaters in sweater bags. And that's also stupid, because I think I have 3 sweater bags. That's it. And all 3 of them have a hibernating sweater in it. I should of course finish some of the sweaters. One of the sweaters that's hibernating is a flax I'm knitting for my husband. But I finished that UFO for him, a UFO, unfinished object, for those of you who didn't know. I haven't finished an alien spaceship for him, I haven't. The grey Aran sweater with all the cables, I'll put up a picture. And that had been hibernating for years. So the flax kind of, there's no rush. Besides, it's worsted, so he can't use it for a few months. So maybe I should have that as a goal, that I should finish it before the fall, so he can use it next season. So that's it for my whips. I didn't have a lot, as I was saying, but I probably rushed a bit through it, but that's because I'm so excited about the big news I'm going to tell you. So the big news is that I was invited to participate in a big online international Fibre festival, and that's what it's called. It's called the Online International Fibre Festival. And Anne Frost from the I Thought I Knew How podcast started this festival last spring, because she wanted to support all the indie makers and small business owners that would lose a lot of income because of all the fibre festivals that were being cancelled. And she's presenting 6 regions in the world every time, and one of the regions this time is Norway, and she invited me as a Norwegian indie dyer. And I kind of I was a bit scared at first, because I've been through a period with kind of a lot of imposter syndrome. Everybody else is so talented, and why would anybody buy my yarn and everything like that? So I kind of was a bit unsure, but I decided this could be a great way for me to up my sales a bit, because it's been off and on been quiet the start of the year. So I decided to participate, and not only because I want to sell my yarn, but because I like the concept, because you're not only there to sell whatever you're selling, you're also there to exchange cultural things. I'm going to send in a video with cultural content, a recipe for a traditional Norwegian dish. So it's not only business, it's also a learning experience. And the festival starts May 1st, and it lasts for a week. And there's a lot of exciting things happening, and there'll be I don't remember the other regions off the top of my head, but I'm going to link the webpage for the festival down below. I know they're setting up a new webpage for the new festival, so if it's not up yet, I'll link you to the previous festival so you can see what it's all about. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's kind of busy at the moment, or it's going to get busy, because I just got a big shipment from my yarn supplier, and this is why I need to have to get my yarn back from Tora, because she's not her shop isn't open this time of year, and that's why I need to have it in stock in my own shop, because hopefully I need to have more stock, because hopefully I'm going to sell some yarn that week. And so I'll be dyeing up yarn for the festival, but I'll of course dye up yarn for the shop as well. I'll probably just put it in the shop as I'm dyeing it, because I haven't got that much sales, so it's not like it's going to be to disappear before the festival. So I'm going to dye more yarn for the next few weeks, and it's nice having something to look forward to. It's an honor to be invited to participate in the festival, and I'm really looking forward to it. There'll be more information as we go along. I'll probably do some Instagram TV when it's getting closer to the festival. Some Instagram posts. I'm going to talk about it on my next podcast, of course. So that's my exciting news. And I have some acquisitions to show you. As I was saying, I've been to Tromsø, and I've shown you the sweater I'm knitting with the Drops Flora, and I bought that in Tromsø. I also bought some cotton for weaving, and I've started a weaving project, but I haven't gotten really far, so I'm going to show you that in my next podcast. Hopefully I've gotten a bit further on it. We'll see how much time I'm going to have for weaving, but I'm going to show you anyway next podcast. Thing is, the loom is folded up and packed away, because it's been busy, and I want to get it out of the way of the cats when I'm not using it, so I couldn't be bothered pulling it out just to show you my project. So sorry. So that's what I got in Snarby Strikkestudio this time. And I also got something I almost forgot that I ordered, because I ordered it a long time ago. And it's something I really figured that I want that. So this is from Kate Selene. I suppose that's how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry, Kate, if I pronounce it wrong. And this gorgeous little bag came packed with minis. And every mini was individually wrapped in a paper bag. So it was almost like a mini advent calendar. And it's she calls them her lucky dip and mixes because she just grabs them. She probably looks at them and figured that they work together because I'm dropping them on the floor because there are a lot of minis here. They're 10-gram minis. And I actually got 11. I'm thinking maybe this is the extra one because this is her colors, her logo colors, red with white. And these are the minis. Just look at that. I really enjoyed unwrapping all these. It's almost like I'm considering buying 2 and asking hubby to put them in a safe place. Just write the numbers 1 to 20 on them and then get 4 more minis. And make this my advent calendar. But then again, hubby said he's going to buy me an advent calendar, a yarn advent calendar for Christmas. So I'm actually going to... So these days, the dyers have started putting up their advent calendars. And I haven't decided which one to get yet. But I know Beehive Yarns. She's putting up her advent calendars April 1st, I think it is. And I love her yarn, so I might go with Beehive Yarns. Excuse me. So, the only thing remaining then is to show you my the yarn going into my update on Sunday. I have done a custom order this week, and my youngest son were with us last week, so the only dyeing I did during fall break was a custom order, and this is what's going into the shop on Sunday. I have a mini set in my shop called Fall Symphony, and I decided I needed a Spring Symphony, and this is it. It's a sky blue with darker blue speckles, a tonal lilac, a tonal blush pink with darker pink in places, a light green. It's looks more like it, and one speckle inspired by my crocus colorway. It's got light speckles of yellow, lilac, and 2 different greens. So this is my Spring Symphony. I decided I needed one, so I only have 3 of these going into the shop. Mostly because I was going to this is my platinum sock, and then that's on its way out of the shop, and I had a few minis left, so I dyed up these on platinum sock because platinum sock was the only base left that from my previous supplier, and since I'm changing to, I've had this supplier since I started dyeing yarn almost, but I actually met him at Spring Into Wool, and I bought some undyed DK from him, and I was really satisfied with the DK. And then I had to contact him and ask him, do you ship internationally? And he did. And I really like him because it's a small business, and he has a policy for farm to skein, so he does the entire job himself. So I prefer supporting other small businesses when I can. So that was the only base left that I haven't bought from him. I've gotten he was out of Poledale The last time I was ordering yarn, he didn't have more 100 gram skeins of Polldale, and he suggested some replacements. And of course I love the replacements, so I'm going to have more sock bases in my shop. I was thinking, I have a small business, I have a limited storage space. Can I really defend having 4 different sock bases in my shop? Because I'm not getting rid of the Polldale, because the Polldale is kind of my sock yarn. I can't get rid of the Corriedale because it's non-superwash, and lots of people want non-superwash yarn. And that means, yes, I can't decide between the two he sent me samples of. So it's going to be 4 sock yarns. And I was showing you what I'm putting into the shop. I'm getting there. This is a single skein of 150 grams in the colorway Grenadine. The reason why I dyed up this skein is because I knit some fingerless mitts, putting in the picture, with this colorway, and people have been asking me, are you going to put more of that in the shop? And so here it is. It's 150 grams, so it's enough for mitts and a hat, probably. So Grenadine, 150 grams on XR Merino DK, so it's got nylon in it if you want to knit yourself some red socks. So that's that. And so for the 2 new bases, in case you're wondering why the zip tie is here, it's because so I can see the difference. Because if I look closely, I can easily see the difference, but if I'm in a hurry, it's just as well to have the zip tie here. And this is Møysan on one of the new bases. And I fell in love with that the moment I felt it. This is BFL nylon, and it's incredibly soft. And this is going to be a staple in my shop. And I'm going to knit myself a sweater in this as soon as I'm done with the festival and I know how much I have left. But I'm going to knit myself a sweater in this BFL. The other new base is this. It's a replacement for the platinum sock. It's 75-25 merino nylon, 425 meters per 100 gram skeins. The BFL is 400 meters per 100 gram. The BFL is plumper, as you can see, than the merino, so it's got less. The yardage isn't as much on this, but it's so soft. So I might snag myself one of these skeins of Møysan to knit a pair of socks, just to try it out. But then again, I only have 2 skeins of BFL Møysan on BFL going into the shop, so I might wait until later, picking a skein for myself. And I also had some 50 gram skeins left of the platinum sock, so I dyed up this. It was quite popular the last time I dyed it up, so I've dyed it up again. It's a sock duo consisting of 1 50 gram skein of Nebula and 1 50 gram skein of Purple Rain. So you can either knit yourself a stripy pair of socks, or you can knit fraternal socks, where you knit one with Nebula, heels, toes and cuffs, and heel, toe and cuff, 1 sock, and the rest of the sock in this, and do it the other way around for the second sock. Or you can knit a stripy hat. I really love these 2 colors together, so these 2 have to go together in a shawl or a sweater or something sooner or later. So that's the sock duo. And I realized I just bumped the microphone. Hopefully it didn't make too much noise. And the rest of the yarn I dyed up this time is on Corriedale, because I wanted to dye up some Corriedale, and the colorways I have to, it's certain colorways are difficult to dye on Corriedale because both because the colors are more muted on a non-superwash, and also because it's difficult to get nice speckles on non-superwash. At least I think it's difficult. I know some dyers manage, but so I'm basically almost all the Corriedale I dye is tonals or variegated without speckles. But I tried a few speckles. This is my colorway crocus, sorry. We say crocus in Norwegian. And it's a lot more muted on Corriedale than on merino, but that's the nature of the Corriedale. And one of my customers asked me, or one of my friends rather, asked me last night, could you please take a picture with those three together? And she has a really good eye because this is beautiful. So this also needs to happen. Crocus with deep purple and nebula. And the other two colorways are new because Corriedale is a bit tricky to dye. I decided I needed some colorways that are easier to dye on Corriedale, so I needed some more tonals, but this isn't a tonal. It's more of a, it's a contrast in colors. This is a really, really dark blue and black, and the stripe is in a more muted blue, and I'm calling this Dusk. Again, my husband's idea. He first suggested Witch's Hour, but I like Dusk better because it's a short, easy to remember name. So that's Dusk, and that's on Corriedale. And the last colorway is kind of obnoxious. And it's this funny neon pink, no problem showing off on camera, because this is neon pink. And this is going to spiral in a sock. And I haven't really decided yet on what to call this. It resembles a colorway I have in the shop called Lupine. It's the same colors, except they're not neon. So maybe neon Lupine? I'm not sure. And this gave me an idea for something fun I'm going to do next week, because it's Eurovision season. For those of you in Canada and the USA, maybe you haven't heard of Eurovision, but it's this big music contest, happens once a year, and all European countries are invited to enter one song. It's the song that's the entry, not the artist. It's the song that's the big idea here. So it's not a talent contest as such, it's the song. Australia actually participates. And if you think that sounds weird, it's because in Australia Eurovision is a big thing. And they asked to be included, and they were, because in Australia, as I said, Eurovision is huge. So they were allowed to enter. And they're starting to announce the participants from the different countries. And me and hubby were kind of we're Eurovision nerds, sort of. And so I decided, when I saw this colorway, I was thinking I should dye up a colorway, and I'm doing that next week. that's really obnoxious and 80s inspired with neon colors, lots of speckles, and call it Eurovision. Because Eurovision is known for its bling, lots of sequins, bright colors, really out there. So if I'm going to dye up a colorway, I'm going to dye up a colorway in honor of Eurovision. And so that's what I'm doing next week. And I really look forward to that because I've been sort of down in the dumps lately and I need some bright colors. So that could be interesting. I'm also considering making a special colorway for the festival. And I'll look into that next week as well. And that's about it for today. The crunching in the background is a cat eating. So I might just stop filming here and maybe go for a walk in the sun before I start editing. As always, if you liked what you saw, please feel free to subscribe. And I'll be back in 2 weeks for my next episode. I'll put up stuff on Instagram before then, but my next podcast will be in 2 weeks, as will my next shop update. This shop update is the coming Sunday, 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time, as always. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching and stay safe.